In this episode, we're going to focus on how defenders turn large volumes of security data into manageable, prioritized work by using correlation and structured triage workflows. When people first hear about a security information and event management SIEM system, they often imagine a giant screen full of alerts, blinking and overwhelming. The real value of a SIEM is not noise. It is organization and context. A SIEM helps you bring together logs and telemetry from many sources, correlate related events, and elevate patterns that matter more than any single event alone. Without correlation and a scalable triage process, even a well-built defensive stack can collapse under its own volume. The goal here is to understand how correlation reduces chaos and how triage workflows ensure that the right alerts receive attention in the right order, without burning out the people responsible for responding. Before we continue, a quick note. This audio course is a companion to our course companion books. The first book is about the exam and provides detailed information on how to pass it best. The second book is a Kindle-only ebook that contains 1,000 flashcards that can be used on your mobile device or Kindle. Check them both out at cyber.author.me in the Bare Metal Study Guide series. To begin, it helps to revisit what correlation means in a security context. Correlation is the process of connecting separate events that, on their own, may not look serious, but together form a meaningful pattern. A single failed login might not be suspicious. A single successful login from a new device might not be suspicious either. But multiple failed logins followed by a success from an unusual location, combined with access to sensitive resources, might form a story that deserves investigation. A SIEM is designed to make those connections across systems, time, and users. It can tie together identity logs, endpoint telemetry, network activity, and application events. For beginners, the key idea is that correlation shifts you from reacting to isolated events to responding to behaviors that span multiple signals. That shift dramatically improves both accuracy and efficiency. One of the biggest mistakes new teams make is treating every alert as equal. When a SIEM first comes online, it can generate a large number of alerts because it is simply applying rules to incoming data. If you do not correlate and prioritize those alerts, analysts can quickly become overwhelmed. Alert fatigue sets in when people repeatedly investigate low-quality or low-risk alerts, which increases the chance they will overlook something important. Correlation helps reduce this fatigue by grouping related events into a single higher-confidence alert. Instead of seeing 10 separate warnings, the analyst might see one consolidated alert that explains the sequence. This not only saves time, but also provides narrative context, making it easier to understand what likely happened and what to check next. Correlation can occur in different ways. One common method is rule-based correlation, where predefined logic describes a suspicious sequence of events. For example, a rule might trigger if a user account experiences multiple failed logins, followed by a success, followed by access to an administrative function. Another method is threshold-based correlation, where repeated occurrences of similar events within a time window trigger attention. There are also behavior-based approaches that look for deviations from a baseline, such as a user accessing resources they have never touched before. The details of implementation can vary, but the principle remains the same. Meaningful patterns are more valuable than isolated signals. For a beginner, you do not need to memorize specific rule syntax. You need to understand that correlation is about stitching events together into a defensible hypothesis. Even with good correlation, alerts still need to be triaged, and triage is where workflow discipline becomes critical. Triage means evaluating an alert quickly to determine its severity, credibility, and required response. A scalable triage workflow ensures that analysts follow consistent steps rather than improvising each time. Consistency reduces errors and speeds up decisions. A basic triage process might include confirming the alert details, reviewing related events, checking asset criticality, assessing potential impact, and deciding whether to escalate or close the case. The key is not the specific checklist, but the structure. Without structure, two analysts might treat the same alert very differently, leading to inconsistent outcomes and confusion. With structure, the organization can learn from each case and improve detection quality over time. Severity and confidence are two concepts that often guide triage decisions. Severity refers to the potential impact if the alert represents real malicious activity. An alert involving a privileged account on a critical server is generally more severe than one involving a low-privilege account on a test system. Confidence refers to how likely it is that the alert represents true malicious behavior rather than normal activity or noise. High severity, high confidence alerts demand immediate attention. Low severity, low confidence alerts may be handled with lower urgency or tuned to reduce noise. A scalable workflow formalizes these distinctions so that resources are allocated wisely. For beginners, this reinforces an important lesson. Not every alert requires panic, but every alert requires irrational evaluation. Scalability also depends on how alerts are grouped and assigned. In environments with many systems and users, alerts can multiply quickly. If each alert is treated as an isolated ticket, analysts may spend excessive time repeating the same context-gathering steps. Modern workflows often group related alerts into cases where multiple signals tied to the same user, device, or incident are handled together. This reduces duplication of effort and creates a clearer investigative story. Assignment models may also route alerts based on expertise, severity, or asset ownership. For example, identity-related alerts may go to a team that specializes in access management. This specialization improves speed and quality because analysts become familiar with common patterns in their domain. Another key factor in working smarter is tuning, which means refining correlation rules and alert thresholds over time. No SIEM configuration is perfect on day one. As analysts investigate alerts, they learn which patterns are noisy and which are valuable. Tuning involves adjusting rules, adding context, or narrowing scope so that alerts better reflect real risk. For example, if a rule triggers every time a user logs in from a new device, but most users frequently switch devices, the rule may need refinement. Perhaps it should trigger only when a new device login is combined with high-risk activity. Tuning is not about hiding problems. It is about improving signal quality. A mature workflow treats tuning as an ongoing improvement cycle rather than a one-time setup task. Documentation and feedback loops are also essential to scalable triage. When analysts close alerts, they should record why the alert was benign or malicious. That feedback informs future correlation improvements. If many alerts are closed as false positives due to a specific condition, the detection logic can be refined. If certain alerts consistently lead to confirmed incidents, their severity may be increased or additional related detections added. This loop transforms triage from a reactive chore into a source of strategic improvement. For beginners, this highlights that investigation outcomes are not just about resolving the current case. They are opportunities to make the next case easier to handle. Automation can support scalability, but it should complement, not replace, thoughtful analysis. Automated enrichment can add context to alerts, such as user role, asset classification, or recent related events. Automated containment actions, such as temporarily disabling an account, may be appropriate in high-confidence situations. However, automation should be carefully designed to avoid unintended disruptions. Over-automation without safeguards can cause operational problems if alerts are inaccurate. The smart approach is to automate repetitive, low-risk tasks while preserving human judgment for ambiguous or high-impact decisions. In this way, correlation and triage workflows work together with automation to increase efficiency without sacrificing control. Communication is another overlooked component of scalable triage. Alerts often require coordination between security teams, system owners, and business stakeholders. A clear workflow defines when and how to escalate issues and who needs to be informed. For example, an alert involving potential data exposure may require notifying data owners or compliance teams. A well-defined process ensures that communication happens quickly and consistently. Without it, critical information may remain siloed, delaying response and increasing risk. For beginners, this reinforces the idea that security is not just technical analysis. It is organized teamwork supported by structured processes. Working smarter with a SIEM also means recognizing that not all valuable insights come from real-time alerts. Historical searches and trend analysis can reveal patterns that single alerts miss. For instance, a user may trigger low-level alerts intermittently over weeks, but a pattern only becomes clear when viewed over time. A scalable workflow includes periodic review of aggregated data to identify recurring themes or emerging risks. This proactive review complements reactive triage. Together, they create a balanced approach where the team responds quickly to urgent threats while continuously improving its understanding of the environment. By the end of this lesson, you should see correlation and triage workflows as the glue that holds a defensive technology stack together. A SIEM provides the ability to centralize data and correlate events into meaningful patterns. Correlation reduces noise and elevates behavior over isolated signals. Triage workflows ensure that alerts are evaluated consistently, prioritized rationally, and improved over time through feedback and tuning. The simplest decision rule to remember is this: whenever you evaluate an alerting system, ask whether it connects related events into clear patterns and whether it has a disciplined process to prioritize, investigate, and improve those alerts at scale.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit DailyCyber.News.